is still good in Heart of the Swarm. So let's go ahead and hop into game number 1 between these two excellent players. We can see spawning here in the top left-hand corner of Habitation Station, the red Terran player. Some might call him the protege of the man sitting next to me. He is Complexity's QXC.
Not many people know about this. And we didn't really give QXC the intro that we gave Select. I mean, do you know what you're sounding like? You're sounding like Caster Bias, Ben. And I don't know if you know this. I don't want to surprise you with this. But sometimes you're known.
Just a little bit biased.
We'll talk about him later.
Well, we'll get into it. In the top right-hand corner, the guy that I've apparently been favoring here in this matchup, he is, of course, Select of Team Dignitas, finishing up last season with the WCS rank of 174. Hopes to do better than that here in 2014. I know that he can. And I don't mean to sound biased. Select is somebody that I consider a personal friend. I've played cards with him on a couple of occasions. I think he's a great guy. I also know QXC, as you know QXC, but I haven't hung out with him as socially as I have with Select.
I really wish I could hang out with QXC more. There was a phase, people don't really know this, but there was a phase for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 months. I was pretty active with helping QXC out as much as possible. I would go over all of his replays. We would go over, just thought process together. So I know how QXC likes to play. I know he likes this very active style. He prefers gas first a lot in TVP and TVT, but especially in TVT. We're going to see this being a pretty consistent trend, and especially on Habitation Station, you got to go for gas first.
This is a very fast gas for QXC, going down well in advance of that barracks, which tells us that he is going to be doing some kind of crazy tech build. Maybe it's going to be a Banshee. That's kind of what I might anticipate. Select also has an early gas, but it was barracks before gas, which means he's probably going to be going Reaper, which is the most super standard thing that Terrans are doing these days.
That's right, but so far just the Marine, so he's not going that route just yet. Looks like he's going super vanilla mode, back to StarCraft, Wings of Liberty, of course getting the Marine, getting the relatively fast factory, just making sure that you have those minerals going, and you're going to get your expansion out a little bit faster than your opponent. That seems very reasonable. I mean, the reason why I like the gas first a lot more in general for TVT is because it allows you to apply pressure, and it kind of sets things in motion for you to have a lot of lines that you're so used to. And it just allows you to apply pressure and then a lot of bonus damage, Ben. Because every single build like this has bonus damage. You're not really expecting to do damage, but if you do,
it's a bonus.
It's bonus.
Yep, that's my favorite kind of damage, Andre.
I know.
Tech Lab finishing up on that barracks. It is going to lift, and immediately we should see a starport going down as QXC speeds towards that Banshee that we were talking about early on. Dropping his second gas behind it. Might we see Cloak, I wonder?
Most likely. I mean, Cloak is so cheap. It just makes sense to do that, not like go halfway into that build. Select, though, he got all the indicators. He already knows it's gas first. Right now he's worried about some sort of drop, mine drop, Hellion drop, Marine drop. He's also worried about Banshee. There's a slight possibility it could be something crazy like Thor drop, but that's so rare that it's probably never going to happen. He's not really expecting QXC to do that, although let's be honest, it's QXC, right? Like he's capable of doing crazy stuff. But I think the main thing he's preparing for, 90% of the time he's expecting some sort of Banshee, so we should see a good reaction. Engineering Bay normally comes down at 5 minutes and 30 seconds.
And look at this
against this
Marine
build.
He's like facing off with the Scantipede.
That thing is gigantic.
It is huge. It's like waist high.
I'm surprised they're so docile.
I would want no part of that Zelnaga Watchtower duty.
Definitely not.
Hanging out next to that skin. You could ride that into battle.
That would be the coolest thing ever. Maybe like the Hydralisk Roach thing.
Oh, yes. That would...
but it's the Marine Scantipede instead.
From Hotbid's old troll account. What was that account called on TL?
Baller?
Yeah, Baller. All right, Cloak finishing up for QXC, or I guess halfway done for QXC. This is his first Banshee.
Check out how Select is dealing with this, too. He's relying on mines for the beginning part, just Marines in the right position. He's getting scans, and he's slowly teching up to the things that he needs, but no direct one-on-one hard counter to this Banshee. It's just
a great mine position, and if QXC is not super mindful, he will walk right into it. Of course, he does spot it right away. Marines are in the other spot, though, and this is going to usher QXC out very quickly. This is a pretty good initial defense from Select. His Viking's going to go ahead and pop out. He's got a Raven. No, he's not got a Raven queued up behind it.
I mean, obviously, he still gets value. Only one Viking. makes it hard for him to track down this Banshee with a single scan. So he still gets a ton of value with this Cloak Banshee, and he will be doing a lot of damage. But turret's in the right place.
A great defense. Turrets are in the right place, only losing 4 Marines before pushing QXC back. And now we're going to have a Select on 2 bases well in advance of QXC. So early game goes to Select, safe to say. Supplies very close. Worker counts are identical. So it's not a massive advantage for either player.
This is very smart, though, pushing out the Marines. This has the range of showing, hey, this could be a 1-base all-in. Unfortunate Banshee loss there. QXC so far behind with this, but he can still make it look like it's a 1-base all-in. Maybe he can get his opponent in a position, Select that is, to think that it is, and then he stops making SCVs completely. And we're going to look at the production tab if Select buys this whatsoever.
A little sloppiness from Select, losing that Viking. QXC's Marine Raven Poke making its way forward. There's a single bunker and 8 Marines at the top of that ramp, which means that it's probably not something QXC is going to be able to push into.
The big problem is the Raven here, right? He saw the Raven pop out here, and he knows it's not going to be a 1-base all-in. It's very rare that you're going to have continuation Banshees or Cloak Banshees after what selected. So once he sees the Raven, it's like you're not really committing to that. You would just be going Marines, Banshees, and Siege Tanks from here on out. So I know I'm completely safe. Select knows he's ahead.
Yep, and he's going to sit back at the top of that ramp. QXC is expanding, but he's also continuing his aggression forward. Or I shouldn't say forward on the map necessarily, but his army is out there in the center of the map, just kind of patrolling, sharking around, waiting for opportunities if they do present themselves. But once again, this is not a position that's easy to assail. The SCV may die, and that bunker is certainly going to be canceled, but for all intents and purposes, there's no hope of QXC penetrating the initial defenses of Select here in the early game.
Not a bunch of great positions, though, to put Siege Tanks and Marines and then be really, really effective. I would say the map you would think it's so good to do this type of pressure or this type of line is Cloud Kingdom, going old school. Cloud Kingdom, definitely a map where you can attack the main and attack the natural from the same location. Habitation Station, where can you really put your units and say, oh, I can ferry units up and make it really, really inefficient for you to defend against. So everything's looking great for Select. Income tab showing equal harvesters, though. This is where I think QXC really shines. His multitasking has just improved so dramatically, I would say, in the past year. Select, he's good at multitasking, but he slips a little in macro. He really loves his micro, and we've seen that with his consistent Viking play.
Good scan going down from Select, spotting most of the main base of QXC, and he saw no 3rd command center. Select's 3rd CC is done, which will allow him to power ahead with workers, and of course he enjoys that extra mule, which means that he does have slightly more income than his opponent, but it's not a massive lead. QXC is going to go ahead and expand on the low ground, but it'll be a while before that command center's done.
Yeah, definitely behind, of course. He will get behind a couple of SCVs, but as the SCV count grows and grows, it matters a lot less. We're going to really focus on the upgrades, where they are with Stim. That's the big one. Select so far behind. I love the build of QXC. Stim just about to finish now. That gives him all map presence. Select still off the map for a good 2 minutes, and that's a big problem in TVT. This is the most essential time. You need to be active in mid-game.
QXC once again pushing out on the map, trying to do just that, Andre, trying to be active in the mid-game, looking for opportunities or openings. Unfortunately, he's going to lose his Raven.
Oh! He tried to put down the PDD.
But was unsuccessful. Vikings managing to pick that off. QXC is looking for that 3rd base of Select, and it is floating down to position. But still, Select's got the right number of units, got the right number of tanks. It's not easy to attack in TVT. It's really not easy to attack in any mirror matchup, to be frank.
It's true. But Select right now, or excuse me.
Marine slacking off is going to end up costing him a couple seconds on the build time of that CC. Luckily, transferred workers can button up the last
Okay. Everything's good. So the problem is there was a gigantic advantage, obviously, with QXC, but he didn't know that he has a Stim advantage. He had there's no way to actually know that. But if he knew that for sure, he would be denying this 3rd base 100% of the time. I mean, that's such an easy base to deny. But he's just saying, okay, my opponent should have Stim at the same time I do, so it really doesn't make sense for me to push in. That's why we didn't see his non-stop aggression. But I like this. This is what map control does at this mid-game stage. It allows you to have options. It doesn't give you the advantage right away.
Oh, QXC getting a little bit crazy. He's going to go ahead and drop in the main base, but Select is ready ready for this. He's got Widow Mines in position, and his entire army is waiting. And what incredible game sense here from Select, saying, hey, I feel like a big drop could be dangerous. Let's make sure that we're in position to deal with it. He does lose a couple of workers, and you know, a little bit of his infrastructure compromised here, but this is a good defense from Select. Really, the losses are far more costly on QXC's side. 3,500 resources lost to 1,700. That's double efficiency for Select. Very well played.
But look at the income tab, 65 to 59, so harvester count is favoring QXC at this point. If you look at the army tab too, that's where you can really see the difference. Although TVT, we always talk about the positional advantages. The gas, look at that, 1175 to 900. We're really looking at how many siege tanks are different. Siege tanks, of course, medevacs, things like that. But here we go, the big push out. QXC grossly out of position.
This is bad, and unfortunately, it looks like he's made the choice to try and initiate some kind of a trade, and well, maybe it is fortunate because he's forced Select to turn around. Select, unwilling to commit to his aggression, is going to be pulled off the map, and QXC making the right moves, buying himself the time he needs, and Select now going to attack into this position is easily going to clean up these siege tanks.
That's what he's doing, just exacerbating the situation. 7 siege tanks to 3, 8 siege tanks to 3. It's a big advantage. Of course, we always talk about how siege tanks, once you have that advantage, it's very, very easy to snowball that into a win. And I think that's what Select is just concentrating on doing. But look at this, it's so annoying. QXC, a Banshee, Cloak Banshee, in 16 minutes into the game, still being annoying.
Finds an opening. There's no turrets at this expansion, so it's going to force a scan. Of course, once the Vikings get there, that Banshee is going to go down. But not only did QXC pull that stuff out of position, he now knows, hey, there's perhaps an opening there for this drop. Maybe we'll see him revisit. Meanwhile, Select is on the move once again. Has to be very careful about pushing into this tank line, in spite of the fact that he has the larger army.
Yeah, they're using scans so wisely here. This is what you have to do, and to anticipate exactly where your opponent is going to or coming from, and then make the correct decisions.
Ooh,
but unfortunate.
Sloppy drop there. QXC not coming together like he might want it to. Select pushing forward. Even still, another Scantipede finds himself in an awkward position. Tanks are going to siege up. Marines dropping the stem. The Scantipede lives through the battle. As QXC is narrowly going to hold the line here, but Select gaining some very crucial map position as we see him setting up on just the outskirts of this third base. Tanks being shuttled down. That's such cute play. Now he's in range of that command center, and QXC's got to be very careful.
2-1 advantage, though, exists for QXC if he wants to commit here, but that's a lot of siege tanks. 5 in very good position. Marines coming up from the left-hand side. I think he has to work on the right-hand side flank. QXC needs to work on the right-hand flank.
Scantipede down to just 1 hit point.
He died.
Center. No, he's still alive.
Oh, I'm
He's
sorry.
got 1 hit point, but he's playing a dangerous game. Command center very low. Is oh my God, this poor Scantipede. How is he not taking splash damage?
Yellow swag, and here he comes.
QXC's going to roll in, see if he can break the siege, and Select's Marine reinforcements show up just in the nick of time. Can he rip through these tanks? It looks like, in fact, he cannot, as QXC will push this attack back. More reinforcements streaming in here for Select. The tank count's still in favor of Dignitas Select, but the Marine numbers appear to be going QXC's way.
That's right, and I think that's going to do it, really. I mean, this is going to just snowball out of control.
Yeah, the supplies have just drastically made an upswing in favor of Select. I think our Scantipede somehow died as well, as the last of Select's Marines go down, but so too do the last of QXC's siege tanks. There's only a single tank defending this expansion.
Select definitely had the advantage for the majority of the game, but he made some really critically great decisions defending against that main drop. That was probably the I shouldn't say the turning point, but the real trigger to say, I have a gigantic advantage. QXC knew he had to do something because his command center, third one, was so far behind. But, I mean, I think Select just played an outstanding macro game.
Yeah, it was a great game. These players look to be very evenly matched, but Select coming out just on top there in game number 1. Guys, this is a best of 5. We got a lot of StarCraft still to play. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break, but we will return with game number 2.